attempted the Pokemon Band Challenge. My name's Joey, and this is today's challenge. My community on Twitch challenged me this week to finish a Pokemon FireRed run in their choosings of Pokemon to be banned in a standard hardcore Nuzlocke challenge. My standard rules here are above as usual. I sent out a form over the last couple of days for my community to submit their 2 chosen banned Pokemon that's within the 151, which is the first generation, of Pokemon. So I'll run through how it all works exactly. Even though it's all pretty straightforward stuff, I created a form and left it running for 2 days where everyone in my community on Twitch submitted their 2 chosen Pokemon. If there were any double ups, it is what it is. Some of the notable bans were the 2 starters of Squirtle and Charmander being banned, but Bulbasaur was actually left wide open. It seems that Bulbasaur is always overlooked. That's so sad, guys. Can we get gifted subs on Twitch to make him feel better? Other notable bans were the early lockout routes with the likes of Pidgey, Caterpie, and Rattata. Some important bans here were Eevee, Lapras, and Snorlax. And of course, the evil bans in my books were the likes of my favorite Pokemon, Alakazam. Assholes. There were a few left field and smart bans that were the likes of Nidorino and Gloom, so essentially people were banning out mid-evolutions, in which, ultimately, it bans out the final evolution because you can't even get them naturally from the wild. These guys are actually pretty smart, hey? I'll hand it to yous. And I don't know if this was orchestrated or not, but it seems like ground and fighting types were targeted, which made planning a little bit more harder. So, for example, Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee were both banned, so I couldn't even get a Saffron City fighting Gym Mon. Alright, so we talked about what's been banned, and here's a visual for you guys to exactly who is banned. But now we're going to start the Pokemon FireRed ban challenge and see how far we get. Oh, and I thought I'd throw this out there now. I'm aiming to do this run with no legendaries because I thought it would be a little bit too easy. So we name our rival Solo, just like the Temu Tribal Chief. Any wrestling fans here? You're going to enjoy this one. Right, so we leave our home and we head north to the wild. We'll be stopped by Professor Oak and make our way and inevitably choosing our Bulbasaur. We name it Boss, we take on the fake tribal chief. Now, in a funny turn of events, I immediately realize that I've got a minus attack nature with a few speed ties, which I win. I know this is going to be a loss straight away at this point, but Boss pulls out the absolute clutch moment and crits his Charmander on his last legs. What a guy. Heading past Route 1, we make our way to Vermillion City to pick up the mysterious parcel and bring back to Professor Oak. So head all the way back and take the Pokedex off his hands, as well as the 5 Pokeballs. We're officially starting our Pokemon journey. Woo! Okay, so both Pidgey and Rattata are banned, so I skipped the Route 1 encounter. We immediately head to Route 22 west of Vermillion City and can only get 1 Pokemon here due to the Mankey ban, which is a Spearow. We find him and we name it Ender. We level both of our Mon to 9, and then we take on the rival fight just past the grass here. Okay, so like my early game Nuzlocke, I find it that the early game is quite the hardest actually. That might be just me. He brings out his Pidgey, and I start off with Ender. Ideally, I want Ender to be doing as much damage as I can, and I peck him to death. As we're left with 9 HP, Solo brings out his Charmander and I swap over to Boss. He scratches me twice and I bring out the Leech Seed. After many back and forths, I'm quite fortunate to have this move this early, and he doesn't even have a fire type move yet, so otherwise it would have been wraps. I take him down and then I beat him once again with the hands of Boss. Traversing up north past the old man, Route 2 offers 1 Pokemon available to me here, which is the Weedle. We name it Zapdos and we head towards Viridian Forest. Now, as seeing the Caterpie is banned, and now that we've caught the Weedle just before, our only chance is to catch a Metapod over the Pikachu here. I like my odds here, but we do find him and we name him Davis. Make your way out northwest and we've reached Pewter City. Honestly, the first 2 gyms should be a dog walk because of our overlooked friend here. What did you guys pick as your starter, by the way, out of the 3? Well, I started with Pokemon Yellow, so I was forced to have the Pikachu, but during my Fire Red or Leaf Green or even the original Red and Blue runs, I was a Squirtle guy. Anyway, let's take on Brock. He sends out his Geodude and I Vine Whip him to oblivion. Onyx is out now and he gets the same thing. No messing around here, just straight wins for Boss. The first badge is out. After we receive our badge, Boss evolved to the Ivysaur. Cooly cool. Let's head east to Route 3. I'm hoping for a Nidoran girl as none of the evolution line, including her, has been banned, as opposed to the Nidorino and the Nidoking. We have a very low 1% chance on finding her, and unfortunately, we find the Nidoran boy here. We catch him and we name it Dom. Hey, look, there's a few wrestling names that are popping up here early. Head up towards the PC center and go towards Mount Moon. We instantly find a Zubat and we name it Myth. Now, seeing it's a somewhat normal hardcore Nuzlocke run, I can actually utilize the fossils here. I take the Dome fossil and we head out towards Vermillion City. Before this though, we got another encounter up ahead. The only mon we can grab here is an Ekans, and we are very, very fortunate that it has Intimidate. So we catch it and we name it Raichi. Immediately, we can go after Misty, but let's head north towards Nugget Bridge and fight the rival once again. Leveling everyone to 18, he brings out a Pidgeotto and we kick things off with Raichi. The Intimidate is already helping a lot here and we bring out the Bite Fiesta. He gusts me and I go for another bite. He flinched me this time and we go hit for a little bit until I get a crit to down him. He brings out the Abra, and since it only knows Teleport, I devise a bit of a plan in order to prepare for the switch-ins so we could do it earlier rather than just doing it on the spot. So after I bit him once, I bring in Myth for the finisher. Solo brings out Rattata and I decide to swap out to Raichi for the Intimidate drop. He goes for a Tail Whip and I swap over to Dom. One quick attack and he actually gets poisoned here, and now you can see in my face that I actually did not want this happening as the Rattata has the ability Guts. So luckily he does go for a Tail Whip instead and I double kick him before he starts kicking off. Lastly comes out the Charmander and he hits a Metal Claw on me first and he also gets poisoned. After another double kick, another poison tick goes off, then he decides to use Ember. I hit the bite on Charmander after one more poison damage and he's left with 1 HP. So I swap over to Davis to eat up the Ember and he's finally downed. A very well thought out fight in which I actually had to use my entire party basically. Decimate the Nugget Bridge and look left to the grass. We can only catch an Oddish here, so let's grab him now. We name it Aloe, and seeing as we have no more encounters here on Route 25 also, we just go straight to Bill's house and we help him out instead of him being stuck as a Pokemon. He gives us the SS Ant ticket as a thank you, and now we're free to verse Misty to grab our next badge. So we start things off with Boss as she's got the Staryu out. It hits a Water Pulse to next to no damage and I use Vine Whip. He gets put to 1 HP here and the potion comes out from Misty. Another Vine Whip and we've leveled to 22, which means we get Razor Leaf. The edging method here actually has its advantages, so don't be afraid to take a little bit of time out to utilize it. Starmie's out now and he hits a Swift, eating up the damage, and we hit the Leech Seed. We get hit with another Swift and we unleash our new Razor Leaf. It almost actually kills it, but the Leech Seed damage comes in clutch here and the second badge is secured. Let's head through the Rubbed House and go south to Route 5. The only mon here we can get is a Meowth, so we catch it and we name it Sims J. Go through the underground path and you'll find yourself at Route 6. There's no Pokemon to grab here, so just keep going until you get to Vermillion City. The first order of business is to head over to Diglett Cave and yeah, you guys guessed it, good job. We're gonna get ourselves a Diglett. Now, luckily we can get one here because Doug Trio is only banned. Younger me actually sat in this cave and caught the infamously rare Doug Trio spawn and we sliced through Lieutenant Surge. But unfortunately we can't do that here, so we're hoping that Griffles can get the job done as a wee little Diglett. Heading east to Route 11, we find a Drowsy and we name it GB. It's pretty important to have at least one Psychic type at our disposal, seeing as Kadabra and Alakazam and even Mr. Mime are banned. It's time to climb aboard the SSN and put some trainers down into the ground. Keep slicing through until we eventually verse our rival once again, just outside of the captain's quarters. Okay, so the level cap here is 21, and we use the same strat of bringing out Raichi for his Pidgeotto. I bite once, and he flinched. A second bite comes out, and we get hit by a Sand Attack. Raichi powers through though, and we get hit by a Tackle, followed by a Quick Attack. One more bite puts it in the red, and another Quick Attack comes out, and we miss this time around to finish it off. We do finally down it afterwards, and out comes the Kadabra. Very scary having this early on, so we gotta be careful. Bring in Davis, and he hits the Confusion. Instead, it uses Disable on the following turn, and I hit the Sleep Powder. One sleep turn, and I keep Davis in for his Confusion. It's not that much damage here. I keep using it here, and he keeps snoozing. He wakes up and uses Disable, then after his Confusion, I hit another sleep. I'm forced to swap out here, so I bring out Ender. He snoozes one more time and I hit the Pursuit. Still having a nap, I use another Pursuit to finally put him away. Raticate is out now and I hit out the Growl. A Hyper Fang is used and I'm pretty scared of it, to be honest. Going for the maximum amount of growls here, and he hits an absolute large crit on me, leaving Ender on 7 HP. So after creating the big mouth meme, I swap over to Dom. A Hyper Fang hits for 10 HP and he gets poisoned in the process. History has repeated itself. Now I'm shitting bricks. Not only does he goes first here and he hits the Hyper Fang, it also crits and it kills Dom in the process. I send Raichi in for the Intimidate and he hits another Hyper Fang. I hit an absolute heater of a crit here and he's in the yellow. 1 poison tick damage and a Hyper Fang later, Raichi survives and hits the bite. The fight isn't done here though, and Solo brings out his Charmeleon. I send out Griffles and he hits an Ember. I'm praying that one dig here can one-shot it, and it does. Another tough rival fight, and we kick him to the curb. So let's go help out the sick captain. By the way, I just want to say, I don't want to be calling him captain as he gets sick. Like, aren't captains supposed to not get sick here? Anyway, I saved him from the rivals, so if anything, he should be groveling at my feet.
Sir, you're addressing the captain of the ship. Now you say sir to me.
No man is superior to Hercules.
Anyway, say goodbye to SS Anne, and now it's time to thrash Lieutenant Surge. I went back in the VOD, and I actually checked. It took me 5 minutes sitting in the gym doing the puzzle. But look, we're finally here, and we're gonna take on the electricity-filled gym leader. He starts off with a Voltorb, and I bring in Griffles. I immediately go for the dig, and I one-shot him. Pikachu comes out, and I use dig once again. One double team from Pikachu scares me a little bit, but Griffles locked on, and he downed him too. Now the big boy of the fight comes out, Raichu. What I didn't account for is Pikachu's static ability, and I forgot to put a Cherry Berry on him, so that's my bad. He starts using Double Team, and I hit the dig. A second Double Team comes out, and I think I'm doomed. But Griffles the legend hits the dig. What a guy. It leaves him in the red, and Lieutenant Surge uses a potion, and I power through to use dig once again, but unfortunately this time misses. Another double team, and I pivot to using Magnitude. It missed, however, and I get hit by a quick attack. Another miss, and he uses double team. Things are looking pretty bleak here, but after Raichu uses double team, I use Magnitude, and I hit him with a whopping 7, and mind you, we get the crit also. The third gym badge is mine. Alright gang, it's time for some backtracking. Head over to El Presidente and let him yap about his Rapidash, then receive the bike voucher. And now it's time to go home, so let's pick this up in the morning, yeah? Just joshing. We're going to be going back to Pallet Town to get Flash from Professor's aid, and then we head north back to Pewter City as we can cut through the bushes this time to receive the old Amber. Let's decide later on if we actually want to use the Cinnabar Island encounter for the Dome Fossil, the old Amber, or with fishing. Head all the way back to Vermillion City through the underground path and go back to Cerulean City. Exchange the bike voucher for the bike and head east to Route 9. No encounters for us here, so make your way out to Route 10 east. Now, seeing as this next encounter isn't that great, we could definitely still use him for a future fight. Let's grab the Voltorb here and we name it Travdog. Approaching the rock tunnel, I'm really hoping we get our only limited fighting type in this run, the Machop. And lo and behold, we actually get him here, so we name him Hitchcock and we make our way through the rest of the cave. Finding the light outside, head south to Lavender Town and west towards Route 8. We pick up a Growlithe here and we name it Sussy. Go through another underground path and find yourself at Route 7. Then we head left to Celadon City. Look what time it is, guys! It's Gamba time! I have to give out the standard practices and rules, of course, so please pay attention here, guys.
Do not get it twisted. Do not gamble. Do not start. Gambling is entertainment and entertainment only.
And now that we're well aware of all the possibilities of losing monies, we can do this actually to get our Celadon City encounter. Now, seeing as Eevee is banned, I actually used this encounter to grab a Dratini for 2,800 coins. I name him Jacob Fatu, who now is going to eventually meet up against and will beat his counterpart and rival, Solo. Second order of business is grabbing Eradicate west of Celadon City. Route 16 has one encounter here, and since we couldn't get Rattata before, can't get the Doduo either, we can grab the evolution here. We name it Ratboy and we head back to Celadon for the gym. So in preparations for Erica, we bring in Sussy and we evolve him to an Arcanine. During the process, we teach him Flamethrower too. We lead the charge with him and she brings out her Victory Bell. Sussy goes first and obliterates it. Tangela is up next and she gets thrashed by it too. It's just too easy for Sussy here though, as he plows through Erica's Pokemon and nabs us our 4th badge of the run. Okay, time to flush out some pesky Team Rocket grunts. Head over to the Gambas section at the local RSL and check out the dude hanging by the poster. Make your way down, twirl around, and eventually find the lift key. I actually head back before I take on Giovanni and level Hitchcock into a Machoke. So going back to Giovanni now, he starts off the fight with an Onix and I bring in Hitchcock. He uses Harden and I hit the Karate Chop. He hits the Rage here now and I swap over to using Low Kick and down he goes. The Rhyhorn comes out and I use low kick once again, swift one shot. The scary Kangaskhan is out now and he uses bite, in which it flinches me. He goes for another bite and I use low kick. As the massive damage comes out, he hits a nasty Mega Punch and I low kick him down. Now that he hands over the Sylph Scope, let's head all the way back to Lavender Town and head over to the Pokemon Tower to the right. Now, as to my usual rules of the rival meeting level cap, I'm pretty exceeded here, so in the future I'll keep track of this, that's my bad. Solo starts off with his Pidgeotto and Ender comes in. I use an aerial ace and I put him to half health and he crits me with a gust. Finishing him off next turn, Solo brings in Gyarados. Any new Pokemon that I brought in from the PC, I didn't exceed the level cap here. Raichu comes in for the Intimidate and he uses Thrash. One Glare after and another Thrash is out. My Bite doesn't do too much damage and after the third Thrash, he's now confused. Swapping Sussy in for the Intimidate also of his own, Gyarados powers through the confusion and starts thrashing again. I use Bite and he gets flinched. Another Bite and another flinch. Go, you good thing. Afterwards, Gyarados goes down and then Execute comes out and I demolish him with a Flamethrower too. Kadabra comes out and I use Bite for the Charmeleon at the end and another Bite and another huge crit. Look at Sussy putting in the work here. So going through the tower, we can catch a Ghastly here. We name it Spotty and we move on. After defeating the spooky ghost of Cubone's mother, we bash up some more Team Rocket goons and we save Mr. Fuji, the creator of Fujifilm. Actually, no, that's not true. We learn that he's actually Mr. Pokemon himself, and he gives us the Pokeflute, and now we can go past the Snorlax that's been in the way. Grabbing Fly first, we must remember that Snorlax is banned, so we can't actually get him. Nuts.
Nuts.
Use your bike from Route 17 and keep heading south until we hit Route 18 and keep going until we get to Fuchsia City. Now, let's go all the way back to Celadon City. Grab the T and head east to Saffron City. We're going to be continuing on with the Sylph Coast stuff here. So instead of going through all the floors, I'll give you the quickest way to finish this off. Head to the Sylph Co and go to the 5th floor. Southmost here, take the teleporter and immediately teleport back in. Then head right and pick up the card key. You're going to want to go to the 3rd floor now and use the card key and open sesame. Go into the first teleporter and you'll be brought into the next rival fight. What a treat! Now, there's a vastly big level jump here, so level everyone to 40. I bring in my Voltorb, but I can't evolve him due to the Electrode ban, and Boss is now a Venusaur, and I also bring in Spotty because even leveling up to a Haunter, he can learn Thunderbolt. So let's give this a whirl. Solo's got a Pidgeot now, and I start off with Trapdog. He quick attacks me, which is some pretty big damage, and I hit back with a Thunderbolt, which does more. Another quick attack, and another Thunderbolt later, down he goes. He stupidly brings in Gyarados for some weird reason, and Trav slices him up too. Execute comes out, and I swap in Sussy. A Stun Spore is used here, and I power through by using a Flamethrower. He's got an Alakazam now, which is pretty scary. He starts off by using Calm Mind, and I bite him. He hits a Future Sight and another bite comes out. I actually learned here that he can only do Future Sight and he hasn't got any aggressive moves, so he just starts using it and he hasn't got anything else, so I get paralyzed in the process and he goes for another Future Sight and I get another paralysis. Come on, man. I just want to finish him once and for all. The Future Sight activates and he goes for another. Finally getting the bite and he's Gornsky. Charizard is out to play now, and I swap over to Trav to eat up the wing attack. He's left with 1 HP, and I hit the last Thunderbolt here. Unfortunately, I knew his time was coming in this fight, so we thank you, Trav Dog. Pave the way for Spotty to come in to hit his own Thunderbolt too, and after taking the Future Sight, we win the battle. Smell you later, Solo. So after heading all the way back out, we swap out Trav and I bring in GB for the coverage. Now, before I take on Giovanni the sequel, I actually go back down to Route 12 and I obtain the Super Rod. I need my Watermon pronto. I catch a Poliwag at Pewter City and we name it Barrel. Fly over to Fuchsia, grab a Goldeen, and we name it Renee. The Sea King has evolved now, and we'll be using it for the upcoming fights and towards the end game. While I'm here, I progress by going through the Safari Zone and actually use some repels here because I want to save the encounter just in case. I find the old man's teeth, head to the end to be rewarded with surf, then we hand over the teeth to the warden so he can finally eat his cheeseburgers again.
Everything, damn it! That could take a bite out of you!
Then head all the way back to Giovanni the sequel. So after all these efforts, we were actually just getting a water type to get up to speed, and seeing as most of them were banned in this run, we have to make do on what else is on offer, which is pretty limited. So Giovanni sends out a Nidorino and we start off with GB and uses a Psychic. He goes down and Nidoqueen comes out. We actually stay in here and we get hit by the Poison Sting and the Psychic crits her for a lot of damage. Kangaskhan is out now and starts off by using a Tail Whip. We're going to use Psychic yet again and whomps him with more than half damage. Mega Punch does some big damage of its own. Another Psychic finishes him off. Rhyhorn is out last and I swap over to Renee. She gets hit by a critical hit stomp and we retaliate with Surf. Giovanni is Gornsky. Awesome. So the real El Presidente gives us a Master Ball and we head over to Sabrina. So I'm going to be using Dark type moves and using other super effective moves where I can here. She starts off by using her Kadabra and I use Bite. It almost one-shots her and she uses Future Sight. The heal comes out and I keep using Bite, which nearly one-shots again, and the crit comes out here unfortunately and not earlier, but either way, she's done. Mr. Mime is out now and Sussy takes the Future Sight attack. One bite into Mr. Mime and she uses Psybeam. Another bite and he's down in the dirt. Venomoth comes out and I swap over by using Flamethrower. Critical hit, she's gone too. Now, this is the scary part here, the Alakazam. She uses Calm Mind and I hit the bite. Psychic comes out. Unfortunately, Sussy can't tank it as he goes down. I bring out Ender and I use Drill Peck for the finale. The 5th badge is all mine. Now, usually we can use this city as an encounter for either Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan, like I said earlier, and chat banned both of them, so thanks guys. We're just gonna go straight to Koga. I bring in Davis as the backup for his Psybeam and we lead with GB, so let's get to it. Koga starts off with his coughing and I Psychic my way through him. Muck is out next and he tanks over half damage. He uses Acid Armor and I go for another Psychic, he's gone too. He has another coughing and he's done also. Lastly comes out the Wheezing and Psychic has carried me all the way through here. And look, what I don't understand about this, right, is he's got 2 coughings as a gym leader. Come on, Game Freak, pull your socks up. But alas, we get our 6th badge and now it's time to traverse the seas. Heading over to Pallet Town, it's time to come back tomorrow and finish our journey. See you guys. Actually, nah, screw it. Let's beat the game now. Head south to Route 21. Instead of getting the Tangela from the grass, I use my Super Rod for the Horsey encounter. We name it Millhouse and we keep heading south.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Keep surfing down until we reach Cinnabar Island. We're gonna go straight into the research lab and procure my dome fossil. We name it Shelly and head outside. I decide to head out to Route 20 here towards Seafoam Island. I'm looking for a Golduck here and we have a pretty low chance on it. Seeing as the Dugong is banned, we still got the seal. Unfortunately, as we head even deeper into the cave and I try to use some repels, that's who we encounter. We name it Baz and we continue on with the run. I'm giving myself some options here as we're approaching the end game, so I head back to Vermillion City, catch a Shelder and name it Cooper. You get it, guys? I decide to just continue on with the story at this point and head through to the mansion. Towards the end of this godforsaken area, we find the secret key and we head to Blaine. Now, if you saw my last FireRed run, you would have seen how easy it was for me for the last 2 gyms. Guys, it's that time once again to jam out and hit the same move that's going to carry me with a different Pokemon, Seadra.
Surf, 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 surfy, surf, surf, surf.
This is great! And all I've done is enter my name! Thrill House!
As Thrill House destroys the last 2 gym leaders, it's time to verse Solo once again before we head over to Victory Road. Now, before we actually go and take him on, I swap out some Pokemon here as a just in case so I can keep my planned last 6 Pokemon for the Elite Four. I brought in Davis, Renee, Spotty and Shelly in as I think the others are just tiers above better than what I currently got. So I start the fight versing Pidgeot with Spotty. I hit the Thunderbolt, which one-shots. He'll bring out his Alakazam now, and I immediately swap over to Davis. He starts using Future Sight, and then the Calm Mind as I use Silverwind. What an absolute whopping amount of damage considering. Rhyhorn is out now, and I swap out to Renee. She eats up a Rock Blast 2 times, and also the Future Sight attack. I go for the Waterfall as it's 4 times damage, and down he goes. Solo brings out Execute, and I stay in for the Rain Dance. The Stun Spore comes out, and I swap over to Spotty. He's preparing for a Solar Beam, and I use Shadow Ball, leaving him with a tiny bit of HP. I take the Solar Beam hit, and I finish it with another Shadow Ball. Gyarados is out now, and Gyarados is gone now from the Thunderbolt. Charizard is out last, and I leave Spotty in with the Thunderbolt. He does more than half HP, and it also leaves it paralyzed. Unfortunately though, it's another death for the run as Spotty goes down. I bring in Millhouse for the surf and I put him down in the cold, cold ground. Look, ideally, I could have sacrificed Renee here instead, but I'm already set on the last 6 Mon regardless. Right, so as we approach the Victory Road, showing off all your badges to the officers along the way, we get through the somewhat easy puzzles and find yourself in fresh air just outside of the Pokemon League. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are here once again to prepare for the Elite Four and to become a champion of Kanto. As I'm preparing for the final team, I really wanted to use a Marchamp here, but since my Machoke for some reason won't evolve into a Marchamp, wink wink, thanks game, I actually weigh up to go catch a Primeape instead. This is readily available at Route 23, which is actually on the way to Victory Road. We name it Twitch, we slot him in the final team. Hey guys, by the way, speaking of Twitch, you guys should come join me at twitch.tv/ASAPJoey for these live runs. Thanks guys! After some intense thinking and theory crafting of who I'm using for the Elite Four, I have a change of heart and I'm going for a Thunder-type Pokemon instead, as I think the last few fights I'll struggle with, and I can use better Mon for the earlier fights. I head over to the power plant in hopes for a Magneton, but I get the Pikachu encounter, which actually isn't too bad in hindsight. I name him Bams and I evolve him to add to our roster. Now, in order to get the maximum efforts from my newfound Raichu, I'm going to need a specific item to enhance my electric attacks. And that item, ladies and gentlemen, is the Magnet. So, as we look at Raichu's stats here, they're all pretty solid. I had to run through some numbers and some of the early fights in the Elite Four are actually high roll dependent with this item specifically. Magnet can be stolen from the move Thief if you use against the Magneton within the power plant. It's got a 5% chance of being stolen and roughly around 10 minutes later, we finally nab it. Alright, so now ladies and gentlemen, after some big preparations, I introduce to you my team for the Pokemon Ban Challenge run. Raichu with Thunderbolt from Coins, Quick Attack, Double Team, and Thunder Wave, holding the Magnet. Fearow with Drill Peck, Mirror Move, Fly, and Steel Wing from the Safari Zone. Dragonite with Dragon Claw from Victory Road, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, and Ice Beam from Coins. Arbok with Bite, Dig from the Rocket Thief House in Cerulean, Toxic from Koga, and Glare. Hypno with Psychic, Hypnosis, Shadow Ball with Coins, Calm Mind from Sabrina, and Seadra with Surf, Smokescreen, Ice Beam, and Hydro Pump. And as always guys, check your family-friendly drugs, healing items post-fighting, ethers, elixirs from the run, and play your heart out. Let's go to work. Lorelei is up first, and this is who we're carefully anticipating with the Raichu. Thunderbolt one-shots the Dugong with a high roll, and out comes the Cloyster. It uses Protect, and on the second Thunderbolt, she goes down too. Slowbro's out now, and gets a Thunderbolt also to death. Lapras is the only one I was afraid of out of these, and it eats a 2/3 of a Thunderbolt here. Her berry procs and she uses Ice Beam. Another Thunderbolt and she's out of range for healing, she's donezo too. Jinx is out last and I swap over to Reiji. The Intimidate comes out and eats up an Ice Punch. I use Bite and she flinches here. I swap over to GB and I anticipate the Attract, but she also uses Lovely Kiss, which is pretty much the same, and it fails. GB hits the Shadow Ball and the first Elite Four member is done. Bruno's up next and he brings out his Onix. I actually start off here with GB and I use Calm Mind. He uses an Earthquake and it doesn't do all too much here, so I bring out the Psychic and he's down here too. Hitmonchan comes out and I start the Psychic train from here. Hitmonlee cops the smoke. I stay in for the Onix and he cops it too. And as always with the Ace, I always find that they're always one of the hardest to deal with, but GB has a clean sweep and it's all a little bit too easy for him. Agatha's third now and she sends out a Gengar. GB's going for another sweep and it seems that she wants to use Toxic first. I hit out with a Psychic and she goes down. Golbat comes out and I use another Psychic to put him down also and take another Toxic tick. I can't afford to do another third here, so this is where I swap over to Ender and she uses a Sludge Bomb which connects. It also applies the Toxic here too. Not confident, I send out Jacob Fatu in which she hits out another Sludge Bomb. This applies another poison and look how upset I am here. I stay in for a turn and I use Dragon Claw and we get hit with another Sludge Bomb. Applying another tick damage, I'm down to 2/3 of HP. I panic swap here to Babs and she keeps using the Sludge Bomb, ruining my team here. I decide to bring in Reiji to eat up the damage, and now it's Arbok v Arbok, mano y mano. I use Dig here and I destroy it. Horta comes out and I use Bite. It does more than half damage and she uses Curse. It's an easy kill, but it's not that great for me as I'm forced to swap out now. Her second Gengar is out, and I think she's going to use Shadow Ball, so I bring in Ender, to which she does. I bring in Raichi, and she uses Sludge Bomb. I'm free to use Glare now, and since she's faster, hits the Hypnosis on me. I swap over to Millhouse and I eat up the Shadow Ball. Of course, she hits another Hypnosis on me. I bring in Ender once again and I hit the Drill Peck. I've decided from this point on, Ender is going to take the fall here and we need to defeat it, so doing one thing or another, one has to be sacrificed, and I eat up the Sludge Bomb and I take some poison damage. I'm left with 4 HP now, but in the same notion, Berry procs, and I hit another Drill Peck here. If it wasn't for that berry of hers, I'd still have our Firo alive, and Ender has fought valiantly here. As I know she'll heal, I bring in Babs with the Thunder Wave. Her Gengar gets hit by the paralysis here, and since I'm faster, I hit the Psychic and I win the battle. A very, very scary battle. Ender has taken the fall. Alrighty, Lance Vance is out for the last of the Elite Four, and he starts off with his Gyarados. Babs is always ready for the Thunderbolt, and he puts him down. Dragonair comes out, and I use Thunderbolt to deal some damage. He uses Outrage, and yeah, of course, here it is. He hits me with a crit. It's starting. A little scared now, I swap over to Raichi for the Intimidate. She eats up the damage, and I swap over to Millhouse to prepare for my Ice Beam Annihilation. I hit the Ice Beam, and down he goes. Another Dragonair, and I use Ice Beam once again. She's literally on 1 HP, and he uses Thunder Wave on me. As the heal comes out, I power through the paralysis and get the high roll this time. Here's his Dragonite, and now I'm left with some minimal options. I swap over to Raichi because I know that he'll use Outrage, and that's what he does. Thinking long and hard about my next move, I've got 2 options here. So I either use Dig and I make him confused, or I go for the Glare, tank the hit, and become faster on the next turn, which enchanted the paralysis for the future turns. I go for the earlier as I know I need to make the sacrifice one way or another. Raichi goes down. I bring in Jacob Fatu and I go for the Ice Beam as it's 4 times hit. I put him in the red and he uses Safeguard. I think I'm very fortunate here. He's Berry procs and he's out of healing range, so now I'm free to hit the Ice Beam, and lastly comes out the Aerodactyl. He uses Ancient Power and I hit back with an Ice Beam. He's on low HP now and he hits me with a Hyper Beam, which by the way, absolutely thrashes me with a crit. In his last act of heroism, Aerodactyl goes down and we keep the Dragonite. 1 fight to go. Okay, so this is the very last fight coming up, and I've almost been destroyed then and there by the Dragon Master himself. We're setting up with the 4 Pokemon against the champion, Solo Sokoa 6. With our own ace up our sleeve, Jacob Fatu will hope to become victorious in the end. Let's finish this once and for all. Solo brings out his Pidgeot and we start off with Babs. 1 Thunderbolt and he's put away. As the Rhydon comes out, I'm predicting the Earthquake, so I swap over to Jacob Fatu. That's exactly what he does, and now I'm free to hit the Ice Beam. This puts him in the red, and I take a hefty Rock Tomb, including the Speed Drop. I'm anticipating the heal here, so I swap over to Millhouse. I can Surf now to put him away, and that's what he does. Exeggutor comes out, and I'd imagine he's going to use a Grass-type move, so I swap over to GB, and I predict well. Giga Drain doesn't do all too much here, and I follow up with a Shadow Ball. He swaps over to Egg Bombs, but it misses the first time round. Another Shadow Ball, and he's in the yellow. Light Screen is used now, and I actually use Calm Mind here, as I want to do as much damage as I can in the following turns. I eat up the Egg Bomb, and I hit the Shadow Ball to finish him off. Gyarados is put in, I swap over to Babs, and he uses Dragon Rage. As the Light Screen is still active, my Thunderbolt only does 2/3 of his damage. He hits another Dragon Rage on me. 1 more Thunderbolt, and he's done. Alakazam is out now, and I have to sacrifice Babs here rather than swapping out and taking more damage. Fantastic efforts in the endgame here, Babs. Well done. GB is out now, and I know that he doesn't have any other moves than Psychic, so I can eat up some damage. I use Calm Mind here first, and while sitting on 100 HP, another Psychic puts me down to 81. I hit another Calm Mind. 1 more Psychic, and I finally hit the Shadow Ball. Getting the special defense drop, Solo uses a heal, and I hit another Shadow Ball to put him down to similar HP. He uses Future Sight this time round, and here I put him away. Adios, friend. 1 more Pokemon to go, and it's his starter, Charizard. I hit another Psychic, and I'm 2-stage now Calm Mind. His Aerial Ace puts me in the red. Activating his Berry, another Aerial Ace comes out, and it's goodbye to GB. Finally, Millhouse comes out for the Surf, and to my surprise here, Future Sight actually failed. Either way, guys, we wash away the fake Tribal Chief solo, got the win once again to become the champion of Kanto. I didn't really have to sweep with Jacob Fatu, as poetic as it would be, but leaving with 2 Pokemon at the end, we have finally done it to complete the Pokemon FireRed Ban Challenge. Being able to do things on the fly and trying to use my Pokemon here where I was actually locked out to my usual usage was pretty tough in itself. The early game being introduced to 2 Pokemon and luckily being left with the Bulbasaur, to not using the large amount of water and fighting type Pokemon spread across the rest of the run, yeah, it was pretty tough, I gotta say. We fought through regardless, and I brought in non-traditional teams and I got to use some actually. I'd never used a defeated champion before, so a few more different notches on the belt. I absolutely love doing this challenge, and a big thank you to my Twitch community for submitting their bans for the Lockout Challenge. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more weekly challenges that are different and non-traditional, including involvement with the chat, please like, comment, and subscribe to the video, as it all helps at the end of the day. Delving into these challenges has been so fun to edit, research, and get chat involved, so I hope I can keep doing them at the pace that I'm really enjoying. I stream Pokemon specifically on Wednesday mornings here on Twitch, so if you do have it, come hang out with us at twitch.tv/asapjoey. Otherwise, I'll be here on these videos. The next challenges awaits us, and I'll see you guys there.